There are more guitars on Earth right now than any other instrument. There are an estimated 2.5 billion people who play one, or have tried to. And almost none of them know that the guitar they're holding is a direct descendant, a modified, fretted, simplified descendant of the instrument you just heard. This is the oud. It is 5,000 years old. It has no frets, and without it, there is no lute. Without the lute, there is no guitar. Without the guitar, there is no rock and roll, no flamenco, no blues, no country, no folk music as the Western world knows it. Everything you just listed came from this. Every culture made music. Most of it disappeared. Welcome back to Forgotten Folk Sounds. Over 5 episodes, we've traced instruments from medieval Europe, Scandinavia, West Africa, Armenia, the Andes, and Southeast Asia. Today we go further back than any episode before. Not hundreds of years, thousands. The oud is the oldest continuously played stringed instrument we have solid evidence for. It sits at the root of the entire plucked string tradition across 3 continents. And yet, outside the Middle East, North Africa, and their diasporas, most people have never heard of it. That ends today. The oldest pictorial evidence of the oud, or an oud-like instrument, dates back to the Uruk period in southern Mesopotamia, what is now southern Iraq, over 5,000 years ago. The image is carved onto a cylinder seal, a small stone object used in ancient Mesopotamia to mark ownership on clay tablets. It shows a figure holding what is unmistakably a pear-shaped, long-necked stringed instrument. That seal is currently housed at the British Museum. 5,000 years ago, before the pyramids of Giza were completed, before the Trojan War, before Rome was founded, before written music existed anywhere on Earth, someone was playing an ancestor of this instrument in the city of Uruk. Over the following millennia, the instrument evolved. In ancient Persia, it was called the barbat, a short-necked lute with a skin soundboard. By the early centuries of the Islamic era, the soundboard had shifted from animal skin to wood. The body grew larger. The neck grew shorter. The sound grew richer and more resonant. And by the 7th century AD, the instrument we now call the oud had arrived, its essential form essentially complete. The word oud comes from the Arabic for wood, specifically referring to the wooden soundboard that distinguished it from the skin-faced instruments that came before it. The full name in Arabic is Al-Oud. When the instrument traveled to Europe, the Arabic definite article al was absorbed into the instrument's name itself, and Al-Oud became Leoud in French, which became simply lute. That word you've used your whole life, lute, is the Arabic article al, fused to the instrument's name, preserved in a European language for 1,000 years. So what exactly is the oud, and why does it sound the way it does? The oud's body is built like a boat, not metaphorically, literally. The rounded back is constructed from 15 to 25 thin strips of wood, carefully bent and glued together around a mold, exactly the way a wooden hull is built. The resulting shape is deep, rounded, and acoustically powerful, a resonating chamber that gives the oud its warm, full, almost vocal tone. The soundboard is typically spruce or cedar, thin, lightweight, acoustically responsive. 1 to 3 decorative sound holes are cut into it, often carved into elaborate geometric or floral rosette patterns. These rosettes are not just ornamental. They are the work of instrument makers who are also, in many traditions, considered artists. The neck is short and fretless. This is the oud's most critical and defining feature, and the one that most distinguishes it from the guitar it eventually became. No frets means no fixed pitch points. The player's finger can land anywhere on the string, not just at the positions a fret would enforce. This allows the oud to play microtones, pitches that fall between the notes of a Western scale. The notes that exist in the cracks of a piano keyboard. The notes that give Middle Eastern music its particular quality of bending, sliding, emotionally direct expression. The oud is typically played with a risha, Arabic for feather, because the plectrum was traditionally made from an eagle's feather. Today, it's usually plastic or animal bone. The technique is a rapid, fluid alternating stroke, and in the hands of a master, it produces a sound that Western listeners often describe as closer to singing than to playing. This is not accidental. Arab music theory has, for over 1,000 years, regarded the voice as the supreme instrument and the oud as its closest instrumental equivalent. To understand what the oud meant at the height of its influence, you need to understand the Islamic Golden Age, roughly the 8th to the 13th centuries, when Baghdad was the most intellectually advanced city on earth. During this period, Arab scholars preserved and advanced ancient Greek philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine, transmitting them to a Europe that would have lost them entirely. And at the center of this cultural flowering was music. Arab music theory during the Golden Age was extraordinarily sophisticated. Scholars like Al-Kindi and Al-Farabi wrote treatises on the oud's tuning, its relationship to human health, and the emotional effects of different modes. The oud wasn't just an instrument. It was a philosophical and medical tool used to treat illness, regulate mood, and align the body with the cosmos. One man stands above all others in the oud's history during this period: Ziryab. Born in Baghdad around 789 AD, Ziryab, whose name means blackbird, was a student of the great oud master Ishaq al-Mawsili. He was so gifted that al-Mawsili, fearing his student would overshadow him, had him exiled from the Abbasid court. Ziryab traveled west. He landed in Córdoba, Spain, in the court of Abd al-Rahman II, and what happened next changed European civilization. He founded the first formal music school in Spain. He added a 5th string to the oud, a red string that he tuned to represent the human soul. He introduced new playing techniques, new modes, new compositional forms. He is also, incidentally, credited with introducing toothpaste, deodorant, and the concept of eating meals in courses to medieval Europe. But that's a different episode. His music school in Córdoba became the crucible through which Arab musical ideas entered European culture. Troubadours who passed through Al-Andalus carried those ideas north into France, Germany, and Italy. The entire European secular music tradition, chanson, madrigal, lute song, and everything that followed, runs through Ziryab's music school in Cordoba. Here's the moment that connects everything. When the oud arrived in medieval Europe through Spain, European instrument makers did something characteristically European to it. They added frets. Frets made the instrument easier to play, in tune for musicians trained in the fixed-pitch European system. They also made it impossible to play microtones, the quarter tones and bent notes that define the oud's expressive range in Arabic music. The European lute is, in a very real sense, the oud with its emotional vocabulary removed and replaced with precision. The lute dominated European music from the 13th to the 17th centuries. Every major European composer wrote for it. It was the most prestigious instrument in Renaissance courts, the equivalent of what the piano would become later. Then, gradually, the lute's shape changed. The body flattened, the neck lengthened, the number of strings settled at 6. By the 19th century, the instrument had a new name and a new form, the classical guitar. The chain is unbroken, oud to lute to guitar. 5,000 years of continuous evolution, from a clay cylinder seal in Uruk to an electric guitar on a stadium stage. And at every step of that chain, the oud, the original, fretless, microtonally expressive ancestor, kept playing. It never stopped. It never became obsolete. It never needed to evolve further. While Europe was busy modifying it, the oud sat in the Middle East and continued to be exactly what it had always been, the king of instruments. In the modern era, no figure did more to bring the oud to international attention than Munir Bashir. Born in Mosul, Iraq in 1930, Bashir is widely regarded as the greatest oud player of the 20th century. The title the Arab world gave him was simply King of Oud. What Bashir did was radical for his time. He took the oud, an instrument primarily used in ensemble settings, accompanying singers, and placed it at the center of a solo concert performance, alone on a stage. No singer, no ensemble, just the instrument and the audience. His performances were built on Taqsim, extended solo improvisation within a single maqam, a melodic mode. A Taqsim is not a composed piece. It is a real-time exploration. The player moves through a mode, visiting its notes, its tensions, its resolutions, its emotional territories, and never takes the same journey twice. Bashir's Taqsim could last 40 minutes. He once said that when he played, he entered a state where he no longer knew what would come next. The instrument itself seemed to choose. He brought the oud to concert halls in Europe and America. He collaborated with Western classical composers. He recorded albums that are still considered essential listening for anyone who wants to understand what this instrument can do at its deepest level. He died in 1997 in Budapest. His recordings remain the standard against which every subsequent oud player measures themselves. If the oud has found you, here's where to begin. Finding 1. The oud is more widely available than most instruments in this series. Arabic, Turkish, and Persian ouds are sold by specialist dealers worldwide and shipped internationally. Entry-level instruments start around 200 to 400. Professional-grade ouds from master luthiers can run into the thousands. The 3 main regional types, Arabic, Turkish, and Persian, differ in body size, string length, and tone character. For beginners, a Turkish or Arabic oud is generally recommended. Turkish ouds are slightly smaller and easier to handle. Arabic ouds produce a fuller, deeper sound. The risha, the plectrum, matters more than most beginners expect. The flexibility, weight, and material of your plectrum affects your tone dramatically. Start with a medium flex plastic risha and experiment from there. Learning it, the oud has a larger teaching infrastructure than almost any instrument in this series. Major cities with Arab, Turkish, or Iranian diaspora communities almost always have oud teachers. Online instruction has also exploded since 2020. Search specifically for teachers who specialize in maqam-based instruction rather than Western notation-based approaches, which tend to miss the point of the instrument. The essential early skill is not technique. It is ear training. The oud demands that you hear the space between notes, the microtones, the bends, the ornaments, before your fingers can find them. This takes time, but musicians who develop this ear find that it opens up their musical perception in ways that no other training quite does. The fretless neck will frustrate you early. It will also, eventually, free you in ways a fretted instrument never can. Start by listening. Munir Bashir first, then Farid Al-Atrash, then Nasir Shama, then Simon Shaheen. Let the instrument tell you what it wants to be before you tell it what to play. The oud is the only instrument in this series that is genuinely, verifiably present in the daily lives of billions of people, most of whom have no idea. Every guitar, every lute, every ukulele, mandolin, and banjo that descended from the lute family. All of it traces back to a pear-shaped, fretless instrument carved from wood in the ancient Middle East. Played first in Mesopotamia over 5,000 years ago. Carried into Europe by a musician named Ziryab through a music school in medieval Spain, and still being played today exactly as it was then. Fretless, expressive, and entirely itself. Every culture made music. Most of it disappeared. The oud didn't disappear. It became everything. Next episode, we're heading to Japan for an instrument so culturally loaded that it was once restricted by law to specific social classes, and whose sound has been described as the loneliest thing a human being can hear. The shamisen. Subscribe if you want to hear that. And if you play guitar, share this, because now you know where it came from. See you in the next lost sound.